Hi, welcome to this tutorial. Today I'm going to talk about how to use Hangouts Meet effectively while using breakout sessions and marrying that with Google Classroom and other things. So the first thing I'll talk about is your school domain name. So for me, I'm logged in, as you can see in my screen, I'm logged in here under my NMDelt account. Now that's my G Suite account that my school uses, and they pay for to use the G Suite or the Google tools. So right now, Zoom is probably what most people are using if your program can afford it. And yes, Zoom has all of these things embedded in it, but Google almost has the same things to offer. They have a grid view. It's an extension, right? And they have other extensions that you can use. So if you're using Google Classroom, you absolutely should be using Google Meet. Um, again, unless you're using Zoom. So I do use Google Meet in my classrooms, and I'll show you what that looks like first. Um, Actually, let me back up a little bit. I would recommend right now, while you're watching this tutorial, add a Google Chrome extension. That extension is called Chat and Meet for Hangouts. So if you go into the Chrome Web Store, and sorry, you have to be using Google Chrome for this as your browser. You go into the Chrome Web Store and type in these exact words. It's called Chat and Meet for Hangouts. Then you can get the extension that you need to make these breakout sessions that I'm talking about. Again, it's called Chat and Meet for Hangouts, and it's this little green and white icon. It's the text bubble, if you will. I already have it, so I don't have to download it. If yours says download, then download it. It is a third-party extension, and that's true of most Google extensions anyways. I've not had any problems with it. It's pretty safe. And so this one's from oinkandstuff.com. I don't know who they are, but I do use the extension. And then the other extension I use is this grid view extension. It's called Google Meet Grid View. So download that extension and then go into one of your Google Classrooms. Yeah, I'll just go through it like this. So because I'm logged into my Delt account, only my Delt classrooms will come in. And actually, that's the only classrooms I have because where else do I teach except for within adult ed? So here's one of my classrooms. In one classroom, I use Zoom. And then the other classroom, I actually use um, Meet. And so the most effective way I've found is to go into your classwork, right, and use this Meet button here. This is something entirely new they just added when all of this coronavirus stuff, came out, and we got put into quarantine, if you will. So the way to get this button, it's on every single Google Classroom. You have to go into your settings, and now they've added a new section in settings. If you haven't been in here, it's called Meet, right? So Classroom now supports Meet. You have a code here, right? And then you can click visible to students. So you can reset the code if you want. I don't want to reset mine because students use this right now, or you can copy it, whatever, right? So the other thing, you have to make it visible to students. If you don't make it visible to students, and watch when I save this, the button will no longer be there. So you do want the button up here. See, it's missing now. So now I have to go back in my settings and make it visible to students. And just click the button and save. And now it will be visible to students. Now, I would recommend if this is brand new to your students, or if you are already using a code embedded in your classroom, the very first day before you use it, so the class before you use it, I would say share your screen with your students and show them this new Meet button. And then I also actually have it right here again. I posted it still because some of my students were lost this morning in class. So here we are. So now I have the Meet here. Let me go ahead and open it up. What that will do, it will go directly into the classroom Meet. And again, if you're using a .edu, right, or .org account that's protected, uh, I would say that that's probably the reason why I like Google Meet over Zoom. You've heard in the news where Zoom accounts are getting hacked and stuff like that. Well, if I'm in a class and I've made the Meet, it will always ask me if someone outside of nmdelt.org is trying to join the class. And if I recognize a student, I'll let them join, even if so. Sometimes they have a little snafu where their phone will jump from their Dell to their personal account. I just let them because I recognize the name. Um, Sometimes I don't recognize the name. That happened with a student the other day, and then so I declined it, and then she texted me outside in Hangouts and said, "Hey, why'd you decline it or whatever?" And I said, "Oh, it showed up as somebody else," and she goes, "Oh, that's my husband's name." And so I didn't recognize her, and so it allowed me to not let that person in our meeting. I don't think Zoom has that, so that's one thing Meet has over Zoom if you're using the G Suite with a school account. Okay, so let me join this Meet. So you can copy the joining info if you want to invite people some other way. If they're students, I always put this into our main Hangouts, and so I'll post it every single morning or night before class. And then they can get to it right there in the Hangouts, or they can get to it from the button on Google Classroom. So I don't need it right now. And as you can see, it's just empty Meet with me. So this stuff is going to have to be done before class. If not, you're going to be scrambling to do it. So I would say give yourself a good 30 minutes to an hour until you're comfortable with this, and then you can do this in a good 15 minutes once you feel comfortable with it. And depending on how many breakout sessions you need. So let's see. So let's make the first breakout session. So the first breakout session is going to be made, and this is why I had you download that Chrome extension, is going to be made by hitting this Chrome extension button. What that's going to do is going to open a new window with a new Meet. So as you can see, it's working. It's creating the new Meet. It's going to have its own new code. So right now, so I don't get that background like wah, wah, wah noise, I'll come back to this one and I will actually turn off my microphone or else it will be a nightmare. So here it is down here if you lose it. Here's that new one. I'm going to go ahead and join or start a meeting. And I'm going to call this Breakout 1. So here's what it's going to do. It's going to generate a new code for you once you join that meeting, right? What you want to do is you only want to copy the URL. You don't want to copy the whole phone number and everything. You're not going to need it for the breakout sessions. So you have to join it. Okay, and now here's the URL that we need. I'm going to copy it all the way from the H to the end of it. Okay, done here. And so now I'm going to mute this one. Oh, what's this? I'm going to mute that and I'm going to mute this, right? So I'm going to mute my camera and I'm going to mute my microphone. And then I'll just minimize it. So now within our chat here, sorry, I'm going to move myself. I'm going to, okay, I'm going to put in my chat my first link, but I'm going to call it Breakout Group 1, right? And then I'll post it. Oh, here's the kind of thing here. Students who join, like, let's say you've made all the groups, and then let's say you want to have it's 6:19 now. Let's say I'm making these breakout sessions, and then I want to start at 7. I might have all my breakout sessions over here, sorry, over here on the right, but nobody can see them as they're joining. So what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to make the breakout groups and then copy all of them. So if I'm gonna make 4, and I'll make 4 here in a minute, then you have to copy them and then have them kind of on your clipboard so you can paste them over and over again. Let's say people get kicked out or people join late, right? Then you can post them at the bottom of the text thread. So let me make another one. I'll make 2 or 3. So I'll click my button again. Oops. Oh, okay, no problem. So that doesn't work, right? Because it's down here. Don't leave it because it will leave the breakout session. Actually open it in a new window. So watch this. When I click on the link here, it will open a new window up top, right? It'll actually add a tab up top. So once I join here, I can leave the one down below, right? So this one down here, I can leave it after I join though. So let's join. It's gonna make a lot of weird noises. And now I can leave this one. All right, so now I have 2 meets going, and I'm actually going to mute the microphone, and mute the video on this one. And so now I have my main meet, right? And I have my breakout session up here as well. All right, so now when I click my extension button, it's going to pull up a new window with a new meet. Now you could, if you wanted to, not download the extension and then just pull up a new tab every time and type in maybe like Google Meet or Hangouts Meet and start a new meet that way. You can do it for sure, but the button, I just feel like it's faster. And maybe it's not. I mean, maybe I'll get better at it about adding my meets and new tabs. So now I'll do a new one. We'll call this one Breakout 2. Continue. And it's making it. I'm going to copy that link as soon as I join. And remember, I'll mute it immediately. So join now. And just remember, if you miss this, like if you, oh, you forgot and you closed it out, you can always grab the information from down. I want to hide these fools. So from right here, this button on the bottom left, once you click that, you can copy from there. Copy, I'll minimize it, then I'll post it in my main. Oh, this is my second chat, sorry. So be careful up here, make sure you're organizing them correctly. So we'll call this Breakout Group 2. Now I'll open it up here again, right? It'll come into a tab, and let me mute it as soon as it comes up. I have to join it first, sorry. Okay, let me mute it and let me mute the video. Now I'm going to move mine over here because I know that this is Breakout 1 and this is Breakout 2. I don't know why it doesn't name them and put it up here. That would be really nice. So now I have 2 Hangout sessions and I have my original right here, right, where I have my meeting notes. So now, like I was saying, so let's say I only needed 2 breakout groups. Now what I would do is I would copy these and then I can paste them as many times as I want, right? And then if you lose the pace, if you're copying and pasting in different things, right, for students or whatever, maybe you can always come back up and then copy and paste the originals or wherever you want, right? Group 2 to group 1, like I just did there, right? So always have those on your clipboard, and then you can get into those breakout sessions. So the first time I did this, I had all the meetings up. It was with teachers, and all the teachers were in their groups, but I could hear every single conversation. So here's a little blip about this. You can't mute their sound. You can mute yourself, but you can't mute their sound. So once you go in and see the breakout sessions are going well and everything, I would close these out, right? And then you can just go into them from your little sidebar over here. You can click into group 1 and go into group 1. The reason I say after people are in them, because if you close these sessions out and there's no one in them, Google will actually like dismiss them and they won't be a thing anymore. That happened to me a couple of times where I put a link somewhere and then it wouldn't work anymore because those breakout sessions didn't exist anymore. So maybe they'll fix that. I don't know, one day, or maybe not. You never know. The other thing I would ask you to, or I would advise you to download again is that Google Meet grid view, because just like, so that was a big thing that that I was told that, oh, um, I was told that what's the other thing called? I had a brain fart. Um, anyways, it was better because you could see all of your students in the grid, right? Well, that's no longer true because you can just get the extension and see all of your students with your grid view. It works really well. I use it every day in class. So it's working pretty good. The alternative to making your own breakout groups like this, the other alternative is to use Google Hangouts. I've done that before as well, where either, so I'll get all of my students, right? If I click on people, I can see all of the students in here. Let's say I have 20 students, and let's say I want 4 groups. So one way to do it is you could ask for volunteers, right? So you get your 4 volunteers, students, write their names down, and then divvy up the other students, right? So 5 students, 4 other students, and the one who volunteered. That volunteer should be a student who is comfortable making a group chat in Hangouts, who's comfortable maybe with technology, and who's comfortable leading the group, whatever discussion you're having, whether it's fractions or language arts or science or something, right? Or ESL. Um, so you have them make it Hangouts, but include you as well. So that's got to be it. So you would tell them, okay, here are the people in your group. It's you plus these 4 people plus me, right? The reason they have to add you is so that you can pop in and out of the Hangouts. Now, I'm debating which one I like best. If I do it this way in the Meet, it ties me and I can't go and join Hangouts with my phone. Now, when I do with the Hangouts, I can go outside, just have some fresh air, and talk to my students on my phone and jump in and out of all of the breakout sessions because they're in Hangouts and because I have the Hangouts app on my phone. The other way you could do it if you have time in class. So a lot of our classes, sometimes an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Maybe you have time where ask for the 4 volunteers if you have 20 students. Um, Ask them to, they have to be comfortable leading the group, right? Or doing the activity that you assigned. Um, and then you randomly assign the students in there, and then you make the hangouts. I've done that before as well, where my night class, they said they were comfortable joining the hangouts and making the hangouts groups, but then they all got lost, and I had to go and find them all again in cyberspace and bring them back to the main group, or I had to make the chat myself and then call them all. So when you do it this way using Google Hangouts, um, you will get 5 phone calls, right? So you'll make the group chat and say, hey, such and such, go ahead and call the group, right? Everybody will get a ding because you put something in the chat. And then whenever they call, as long as everybody in your class has Google Hangouts on their mobile device, they will get a call. I do like that method. Is one better than the other? I'm not sure. I haven't used them long enough yet, but I'm still learning. So, well, anyways, I think that's the gist of it. I hope you gained something out of this, and I hope that your class is doing well and doing good and not being too affected by this coronavirus thing. I know that my classes, we're learning, and the greatest thing that's come out of this is students' digital literacy is going from here to all the way up here. I mean, they're kind of forced to learn this digital stuff, and it's really working well. So thank you. Have a great day. I hope you learned something. Bye.